One of the things that keeps me coming back to horror day after day and year after year is it's the genre pound for pound that can get into my psyche and make me feel something most reliably. Previously on the channel, I talked about horror movie moments that f***ed me up for life, but today I'm going to talk about 10 horror movie moments that still give me chills. Whether it's the musical attributes to it, the overall vibe or implications of something that's happened, or it's just visually stunning in some way, or a combination of those. I want to say I've written them down and I'm going to go through them in order, so it's not a particular order from like favorite to least favorite, most chills to least chills, or anything like that. It's just the order I happen to write them down, so it's not a ranking. A Quiet Place is one of my favorite movies of all time, of any genre, but definitely it's like top 10 horror movies, maybe even top 5. The meat of the movie takes place in essentially like a 24-hour period. Husband Lee and son Marcus go out to like get supplies and check the fish traps in the river and whatnot, while daughter Reagan and very, very pregnant wife Evelyn stay at home on the homestead to do like they're just doing some stuff like laundry or whatever. The monsters in A Quiet Place, if you haven't seen it, you have to rectify that immediately. Please watch it. They are extraordinarily sensitive to sound. They can't see, but they can hear like literally anything. Lee and Evelyn have this warning system set up around the house for if Evelyn goes into labor. Basically, there are these string lights all around the property, like they grow corn and stuff, and they're normally white, but with the flip of a switch, they turn red so that everyone knows that it's baby time. So Evelyn flips the switches to make, while Lee and Marcus are gone, she flips the switches to make it red so that when they come home, they know baby's happening. But then they start, she realizes that some of these creatures are around. And again, Lee and Marcus are still gone, and the contractions are kicking in, and she's having a really hard time not making noise with the contractions. So she goes to like the old house. There's that old house that like the floors make too much noise or something like that. So they've kind of they're staying in a different structure that's a little more set up for quiet living. And she goes upstairs and she like quietly lowers herself down into the bathtub. So Lee and Marcus get home. They just, they're taking their time. There's no reason for them to have rushed. And as soon as they see the light switched to red, they start running down the path. Pretty quickly, they notice that these creatures are around too. So Lee, the dad, tells Marcus to go set off the fireworks they have for this exact situation. They're out in the cornfield, and the whole point is to if there's something around the house, these creatures around the house, you light the fireworks and it lures them away. So Marcus runs off to do that. Lee runs over to the other house and gets the shotgun. You can tell he's like keeping it quiet. He's got his hands under the blanket. That's where he loads it, and he wrecks the pump and whatnot to keep sound to a minimum. Meanwhile, Evelyn is in the bathtub, contractions building and building. And one of these creatures is coming up the stairs behind her. So she's like laying in the tub. The door is over that way, the stairs. And one of the things these things do is some symptom of their echolocation or whatever, the frequency that they emit sound. It makes standard like filament light bulbs flicker. So the lights are flickering, and she's in this tub. You can just see the pressure building in her features, and she's trying to hold it together, and the pressure and the pain keeps building and building and building until this thing is like 6 feet away right behind her. The music, the building music that's been going up while it slowly zooms into her face, trying to hold back the scream she so much needs to do. Music drops out and she just goes, and then bam, smash cut to fireworks. Just in the nick of time. And Lee comes sprinting out of the house towards the guest house to save his very pregnant wife, an unborn child, and the music starts, these deep strings start going, bum, 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 bum. God, just talking about it, I've got like the goosebumps on my head and my arm. A Quiet Place is one of those movies that I watch probably once a year, easily, and I have ever since it came out. A couple of times, I've probably seen it maybe twice. It's one of those movies that if I can't decide on something new I want to watch, but I'm still very much in the mood for a horror movie, I'll just turn on A Quiet Place. And despite at this point having seen it like at least 10 times, that moment still chills. Come Play is another one kind of like A Quiet Place, where I think it's just a super well put together, extremely freaky, triggering movie. It came out in 2020, and I want to say I've definitely seen it more than just 5 times. So I also watch that one at least once a year. The premise of it is there's this couple who's kind of on the outs, and they have a son who's autistic, non-verbal autistic, and he's always on his phone. Because, well, for one thing, since he's nonverbal, his phone is kind of how he communicates. There's an app that he uses to formulate sentences to get communication across at school and at home and all that stuff. But he's always watching. He's a screen kid, you know, like a lot of kids are screen kids these days, Gen Alpha and whatnot. But he's so isolated, even though he has people around him. He's the nonverbal piece is really isolating. So he's extra. The theme of it's never like said like, oh, he's lonely, but this thing that ends up targeting him specifically targets the lonely because it's lonely too, and it wants a friend. So this creature that exists in the digital realm and uses electronics and screens to kind of power itself up and come into the world. It's chosen that it wants this kid. It wants to take this kid back because he doesn't have any friends and the parents are on the outs. Like I said, it targets loneliness, and it's decided that it wants to take this kid back to its world with it. Come Play is also a fabulous movie. I highly recommend it, and I'm about to spoil the end. So if you haven't seen it, skip to a time stamp I'm gonna put on the screen somewhere here. Ooh. Anyway, one of the themes of the movie is the mom feeling like the kid doesn't love her because he won't even like look her in the eyes. It's a lot more well crafted than what I just said. Like it's a great movie. At the very end, this thing has fully made it into the real world and is chasing mom and son through the forest, and it can't take one of them. The choice has to be willing. So it basically just is trying to convince the kid to just take its hand, and once he takes its hand, it can take him. It's unclear exactly why the kid decides, like, okay, I'm just gonna give up. I'm gonna go with you. I guess maybe this world isn't for me, kind of thing. And so he approaches the creature with his hand out, and just before he takes its hand, the mom swoops in from the side and takes the monster's hand instead. And the monster is mad. It goes like, ah! Like, you're not the one who I wanted to play with for eternity in my digital hell world, whatever. So the mom sacrifices a huge sacrifice because, I mean, as far as anyone in the movie or watching the movie knows, it's like eternity. They're forever, no natural aging or whatever. Like we have no idea how this world works, but presumably it's eternity. So mom looks down at son one last time, and for the first time ever, son actually makes eye contact with mom, looks up and makes eye contact. In a moment that could have been so sweet if the camera didn't then go back to mom's face and see this. And then she's just sucked out of this world, flies through the forest, dragged away by, I don't remember what the monster's name. I think it's something like Freddy or Freddy? Larry. It's Larry. Anyway, Larry apparently rapidly desiccates the mom and sucks her into his hell world. Wasn't expecting it. Was not expecting it. I thought he was going to make eye contact with her and she was going to be like, oh, that's nice. And then like poof or something. I really just didn't expect this moment to suddenly have... And that face is extraordinarily chilling to me. I think it's because I kind of go back to that I'm watching it for the first time mentality, and I remember how I felt, how just shook, like off kilter I was seeing that happen. And it's one of those sense memory things where I seem to kind of regress to it every time I see it. So yeah, it still makes just all the hair all the way up and down me go. Come Play is a great movie, though. You should watch it. I won't spend too much time on this one because it's one of those ones that I think probably everyone who cares to watch this video has probably seen this movie. It's 20 years old. It's over 20 years old at this point, and it's extraordinarily famous. But the end of Saw. Now, I think that Saw lost the plot basically from 2 onward. I've never been a huge fan of like the Saw verse, but I am a huge fan of the first movie. I thought it was really unique, really fresh, and the twist, it was kind of like M. Night Shyamalan's syndrome. You get one really good movie with a really good twist, Sixth Sense, and then everything after it is just like trying to even just get up to that level again, and you started too strong, and now it's just like every other twist is kind of like, oh, okay, well, okay. But it's not just the reveal at the end of Saw that Jigsaw was on the floor the whole time, and it was just so, it was even more elaborate than they believed throughout the film. It's the music, that iconic music. So I am extremely swayable with music. Like something that's not super epic can be made epic with good music to me. And that swelling orchestral reveal music, that Saw theme, it would become the Saw theme throughout the series. Oh, really good. That's another sense memory one for me. Like, I don't even have to watch that part of the movie to get the chills. All I have to do is listen to that music. Here's another one where it's just basically the final scene in the movie. So, spoiler warning, put the timestamp up there to skip to for Absentia. Absentia is Absentia, I'm honestly not really sure. It's basically Wes Craven's They, but a lot less early 2000s. It's really, really creepy, and there's a lot of scary stuff in it, but it's a bit more drama for the meat of it. But when it's scary, it's scary. Essentially, one sister who's a bit of an F-up, or a former F-up, goes to visit her sister whose husband disappeared without a trace. I think it was 6 years prior, maybe a little less. But he's basically been declared in absentia, which is essentially no trace. It's been so long, we're just gonna call him dead. So the younger sister comes and to hang out with the older sister while she just kind of processes that official change. Then, lo and behold, the husband suddenly shows up again, and he's malnourished, and he's got like it appears that he's been eating small animals whole, like there are small animal bones in his stomach, and he's mentally super messed up. Like he's got severe post-traumatic stress symptoms. Long story short, and very spoilery, there is this race of like insectoid silverfish-like creatures that live in a parallel plane. It's not necessarily a parallel universe. It's like it's the same time, but different space, and it's unseen all around us. And they take people to be slaves in their society, whatever. Like you don't get a whole lot of information on these. Just really quick glimpses. Sounds. The soundscapes in Absentia are really, really creepy. Well, these things come and take the husband back, and they also take the sister, the wife, ex-wife, however, leaving the kind of screw-up sister there. And there's a theme in the movie about you don't trade. Like at one point at the beginning, there's this guy who pops up in this tunnel while the younger sister is going for a jog, and he's like, you wanna do a trade? And he's all effed up. He looks super, he looks like the husband did when the husband came back. And she makes him some food and drops it off in the tunnel for him if he were to reappear. And that kind of invited these creatures. They have some kind of trade culture, or I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's a really good movie. You should watch it. But in the end, the youngest sister wants to get her sister back. So she tries to trade with the creatures, and they end up just taking her. And the closing scene is the cop who was investigating the disappearance of the husband over the years that he was working on the case. Him and the older sister kind of became an item. So he's going around putting up pictures of the sister in posters, which is basically identical to the opening scene in the film, where the older sister is going around putting up pictures of the husband. And the camera kind of pulls around to show him putting up the thing, and behind him is this tunnel that is like the rift between the worlds in this one particular part of this fairly normal suburban town or area of a city. And you can see the younger sister standing there, and she's not in focus, but her head is just a little crooked, and she's got like this kind of otherworldly twist to her face. Then the camera goes behind her, from her, like the cop turns his head, like he senses he can feel like the eyes on him or something. You know how that is. And he turns, and she's not there anymore. Then the camera is behind her, and she's behind this like wibbly shimmer space. She's in the other place though, and you can hear one of the silverfish things behind her. I can't exactly remember. Is it like one puts its hand on her shoulder or something? But that it taps into that primal fear I think most people could relate to. Like if they really put themselves in the space of, what if I'm here, but no one can see me and no one can help me, but I'm here, I'm right here. Yeah, I want to say the chill factor, as far as like physically feeling a chill, is a little less. It's more chilling. It's more something that happens in my mind, like that really uncomfortable, helpless, if I were in her shoes, really uncomfortable headspace for that one. Jacob's Ladder. It's full of really uncomfortable imagery. Like there's this bit where he's being rolled through this hellish hospital kind of triage place. He's constantly seeing weird crap out of the sides of his vision. I won't spoil the whole story of what Jacob's Ladder is, like what's actually going on, because I don't need to explain this this scene that still gives me a real shiver up my spine. At one point in Jacob's Ladder, Jacob and his girlfriend are at some kind of party. It's been a while since I've seen this movie actually, but this scene really sticks out in my head. They're at some kind of party, or maybe even a club, and the music is like deep and thumping, and the strobe lights are super severe, and both the music and the lighting get more severe. And throughout the movie, Jacob sees things, and he's horrible stuff just in like the world that seem like they shouldn't be there, and they get worse and worse throughout the movie. And this moment at this party, the the girlfriend is dancing. She's really free. She's really her whole, I think she's French, and she's just really free with the fun she has. And she's dancing with other guys. Not a problem. But the dancing becomes decidedly more problematic as it goes on. And then like Jacob's watching, and the lights and the music start getting to him, and he's starting to kind of like, you can, it's palpable. You can feel the discomfort and fear and the world just twisting around him. And like the girlfriend, the dancing gets more severe. It starts to get less dancing and more like and she like he notices that she's got this like lizard-like tail coming out from under her dress all of a sudden. At least I think it's a tail. And it's a fairly quick scene, and it actually acts as a transition to a really strong pivot in the film, narratively. But yeah, this dance scene, every time I do watch the movie and this happens, I just like, I can feel little prickles behind my ears, and I'm just like, this is so weird. All right, another one that I watch fairly frequently, Lights Out. Interesting, actually. Come Play is based on a short horror film, and so is Lights Out. They became feature films, and each in Come Play, one of the scenes is basically shot for shot the short film, which is pretty cool, at the car parking lot, whereas Lights Out was more of a concept that got turned into a full movie. Without really going into why or how, the concept of Lights Out is that there is this extremely grody, like almost Eastern horror kind of creature, real spindly, long, scraggly hair, woman who can only exist in the absence of light. And she's super malevolent too. And for reasons, she kind of is haunting, for lack of a better word, this family unit, dispersed family unit, troubled family unit, but everyone in this kind of familial situation, she's haunting and hunting. And the daughter, who lives in one of those like classic rockabilly first apartments that's like above a bar, and there's a neon sign that flips on and off, flashing outside the bedroom window. She's dating a dude in a band, you know, classic early 20s stuff. And her first experience with this entity is in this apartment, and whenever the neon sign that's outside dims, there's this scratching, and she's laying in bed, and she's like, she hears this scratching, and she when the light comes up, there's no scratching. The light goes back down, scratching like rats in the walls, and eventually she kind of sits up, and when the light dims out, she sees this figure in her doorway, her bedroom doorway, just squatted like a rat person and scratching on the floor with her fingernails. And it's just silhouetted, but you can see just how, like I said, very, very Eastern horror trope, kind of gross, long, scraggly hair and skinny and animalistic. And the daughter's like, am I going nuts? And the light comes back on, and she's gone from the doorway. And then the light goes back off, and she's in the doorway again, but she's standing there, like, hunched over. And then she lunges at the girl, but the light comes on just in time. So she, like, disappears, poof! And the girl's like, ah! And, oh gosh, yeah, this is another one where I'm just talking about it, I'm feeling like all the hair pop up. So the girl jumps out of bed real quick and turns on a real light. And then she sees what the entity was scratching in the doorway. And this is one of the very, very first scenes in the movie. It's like maybe 10-15 minutes in, something like that. It's probably the most intense scene in the movie, if you ask me. But yeah, still, I definitely feel all the hair on my body being like, this ain't right. Okay, this next one, I think, is shared by a lot of other people, horror fans, not horror fans, just a lot of people who have seen this movie. There is one oh shit moment that just everybody agrees is the scene where you say, oh hell no. And I think it's a Mexican birthday party in Signs. We've seen, up to this point in the film, we've seen quite a lot, if you really think about it, quite a lot of these aliens, but it's mostly like silhouettes, or I think at this point one of the aliens was in M. Night Shyamalan's basement and they saw kind of a reflection and the fingers under the door. But this is like the first full daylight image you get, and it's like the classic, there's like the party, they see it on the news and the party is happening and all the kids are going like, they're everyone's yelling and looking out the window and filming somewhat shakily, and you can kind of see this thing in a bush, and then it walks out of the bush and it freeze frames, and it's like that classic Bigfoot picture where it's like walking sideways, looking at the camera. And yeah, that moment, the reaction of the people at the birthday party on the TV, the reaction of the people watching the TV, and just the fact that you finally get a glimpse, a full color, full light glimpse of these things. Real solid chills. Every single time, without fail, chills. In the movie Mama, two very young sisters are kind of kidnapped by their father, who's done a bad thing, and taken to this cabin in the woods to kind of like hide out and figure out his next move. I think actually he was planning on killing them and himself, but something stops him. This spirit stops him by killing him, and then it kind of takes care of the girls, and they become like feral. And a long time later, the brother of the man who kidnapped the kids, he never gave up on his nieces, and so he's hired these guys to go like check grids in the woods and try and find and bring back the kids eventually, because they were never found. So he still had hope, and it turns out he finds them. And the man's got a girlfriend. Jessica Chastain actually plays the girlfriend, who's in a band, and she's got like sleeve tattoos, and she is not a children kind of person. One of the first scenes in the movie is her like getting a negative pregnancy test and being like, woohoo. So anyway, basically the entity, once the couple get the two girls and they start taking care of them, the entity like throws the guy down some stairs and puts him in the hospital. So it's just Jessica Chastain's character caring for these two little feral girls. The entity, referred to as Mama, that's what the girls call her, she's super protective of them, but she's also extraordinarily jealous. So when the girls start to take a shine to Jessica Chastain's character, and Jessica Chastain also reciprocates the shine a little bit to the girls, there's this one scene where the older girl she still kind of remembers a little bit of the before life. Like, she's retained the ability to speak fairly well. It was receded quite a bit because she hadn't been using it, but like the younger sister basically just knows a couple of words, and one of them is Mama. But the older sister, there's this part where after they've been like having a somewhat good time with Jessica Chastain, Mama, who is this really floaty, freaky, again, very Eastern inspired kind of horror creature. She's floating downstairs and she's like got her arms open like she wants a hug. And the younger girl is about to go do it, but the older girl says, no, don't. She's actually angry with us and it's a trick. And the little girl kind of looks up and looks back at Mama, and that hesitation really pisses Mama off, and she lunges. Oh man, it's a lot like the scene in Lights Out, actually. This scraggly, skinny, super effed up feminine specter just doing a real big fat lunge at the camera, and oh my God, that movie. So it also does the thing where it's got a real grudgy kind of soundscape that Mama is so creepy, but that lunge gets me every time. And it's the fact that she's like trying to trick the kid initially, like she's sitting there, arms open. Oh, you want to come hug Mama? And the older girl's like, don't do it. She's actually really mad. Yeah, I am. Super creepy. Super creepy. And we got another lunge, actually. I think freaky women lunging at the camera might just be a trigger for me. Because in Cobweb came out last year before? Was it 2023 or 2024? I don't remember. Anthony Starr, Homelander, aka Homelander, and Lizzie Kaplan play these parents who, from the start, clearly have an extremely dark secret happening. The movie is kind of from the perspective of their young son, though. And at one point, before really anything, like he knows something is wrong with his parents, but nothing has been truly revealed yet. He's just got this real sinister, like they're revealing themselves to him to be sinister forces. And there's this bit, I don't know if you're supposed to think it's really happening. I was fairly confident it was a dream when it started, the first time I watched it. And it is a dream, but there's this bit where like Anthony Starr is standing in the corner of the bedroom in this dream, and he's like looking like this. He's saying some creepy monster stuff like, look what you did to your mother. Look what you've done to your mother, Peter. And then the kid looks down the hallway at his mom, and his mom... So then she starts running down the hallway, and the light goes out, and she disappears. And, I mean, there they are again, the chills. After a brief moment, suddenly she goes, blah, back out of the darkness with her hands in her face. And just, I hate it. I hate it. I've seen Cobweb a couple times now, more than a couple times, several times, I want to say. I think it's kind of underrated. I'm not sure why people don't like it more than they do. I was a big fan of Cobweb. There's a lot of creepy stuff in there, but that moment in particular, even though I was 95% sure it was a dream anyway, just stellar art direction and like body acting from both Anthony Starr and Lizzie Kaplan. The final entry, the final chilling moment for me, for this list at least, it is the introduction of the sunken place in Get Out. Now, I think there are a few reasons this scene is so wonderfully effective. Primarily, it's because it's the first introduction of something truly sinister and unnatural, or preternatural, pseudo-natural. Up until this time, we've got a lot of people acting very creepily. We've got a lot of mysterious threads that are still yet to be pulled on and fleshed out. And then there's this moment where the psychologist, psychotherapist, psychiatrist, I don't know which, I don't remember which the mom actually is in Get Out. She invites the protagonist to have a seat and talk about some stuff. And she again, really sinister and creepy. People have been acting like this throughout the film. And then he starts being like, I can't move. Why can't I move? And it like all reveals, like they're truly evil now. Like we have moved beyond shadow of doubt. These people are bad people. And she taps the teacup and says, sink. Wait. Sink. I don't think it taps quite as strongly into the same feeling Absentia and They does, where you're like here but you're not, and no one can help you. It's a little bit more like you're retreating into yourself, a prison of the mind kind of thing, which is still a pretty, I think, commonly triggering feeling and headspace to kind of hypothetically put yourself in for a pretty significant amount of discomfort. But yeah, that's the moment in the film where people aren't just acting weird. They're not just doing weird stuff or saying weird things. They have officially crossed the threshold over into hostile. I watched Get Out in a theater without knowing much about it. I knew it was Jordan Peele's first debut directorial film, and I knew that people were loving it so far. But I hadn't been any spoilers. I don't think, because I personally don't watch trailers for movies that I know I'm going to see anyway. I don't see the point. I might as well go in completely blind and just experience it. So Get Out was a crazy good experience in a theater as a blind viewing. And that moment on the big screen when he's sinking down and there's the little screen of what he's seeing, but he's not actually there. So good. Please comment on what movie moments or film, TV, even the books, even book moments that still give you chills. Comment, tell me about them. I want to hear about them. Tell me which of these, do any of these moments still give you chills? Yeah, let me know. These kind of discussion style videos, I love it when people comment about their personal opinions and experiences. It doesn't even have to be horror. If you want to just hit any kind of chills from movies, you don't have to limit it to horror if you don't want to. I'll be watching out for the comments. Thank you for watching. If you like stuff like this, I do it periodically. Mostly I'm doing games on the channel at this point, but I like to do movie lists that are both scripted and unscripted, like this one. If you want to talk more directly to me, you can go to patreon.com/horrorandcats, and if you subscribe there, you get access to my private Discord server. So we can talk movies, we can do more direct chats and stuff like that. There's also a bunch of new videos. I do exclusive Let's Plays there, streams. That's where I publish all my original horror short stories. And if you're in the second or third tier of Patreon, you get a shout out like this one. Thank you to Annette Silvera for being a patron. I'm Smokey Lyle, this is Horror and Cats. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. There are also more... Yeah, buddy. Show everyone your butt. That's okay, I can wait. No rush. No, don't step on that. Look at this face. Look at this face.